idea of their higher power, right? So in order to control women, the higher power is going to have to be a male, because you can't allow their sense of self to identify with the higher power. Otherwise, they're self-empowered, right? So there's just different things that when people say, well, no, we don't want to only focus on Black Lives Matter, but at the same time, why is it that, what about black on black crime? And where does that come from? Well, it comes from hating people who look like yourself. So without addressing that, if what we're doing in the ways that we interact with each other as black to black people, we communicate to the world that our lives don't matter. So why on earth would the police think that our lives matter? In reality, if we still carry self-hatred within our vibration.
I hear you.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, but I think it's been such a long time teaching in the black community. It's hard to just cut that and say, no, it's not like this anymore. We don't hate each other.
It's not just
because we all... Here's the reality, though, Trey. We all hate each other. It doesn't matter what color you are. We have been taught in this country that if you're lower than standard of living is lower than mine, I'm better off than you. It doesn't matter the skin color. I have more money than you, therefore I'm better than you.
That's true.
And unfortunately, because the blacks have been, and Latinos and so many other brown colored skinned people have been repressed so long in this country that it's like the cycles have been in place for so long, it's really hard to stop the cycles. You know?
I think that's what he was saying.
And in reality, they are the they are the fundamental pieces of our society as a institution.
Right.
So it's very hard to get away from the fundamental things of any institution. It doesn't matter if it's a bank. Banks start out with their fundamental beliefs and mission statement and ways that they go about things. You want to change it over to a credit union 50 years later, it's hard to do that. You know what I'm saying? If you want to change the model of how you serve the community as a bank, it's hard to do that after years and years, legacy after legacy after legacy. You know what I'm saying? So,
something that was brought up the other night was entitlement wound. So you as a white male, you as a male, right? When you start to give in to the feminine, then a entitlement wound is opened up.
When you start to give in to the feminine?
I don't know if give in is the right word, but when you start to, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how to put it, but the documentary's talking about the entitlement wound where people are losing jobs to minorities, are losing jobs to women. They start to feel, well, hold on, like I'm supposed to have this job, you know, and so this entitlement wound gets opened up, and so not that it takes time to heal, but it's a process for people not to feel entitled that equal is a thing, you know what I mean? Yep. And it may not even be something that's spoken, but it's real.
Yeah, and it's like this.
Your soul, the spiritual side.
We should probably title this something.
Just record it.
So, no matter what, the beauty about spirituality, the true genius in spirituality and having a relationship with whatever you would call the universe, whatever, no respecter of persons or conditions, where you live, where you don't live. It's very, very, very simple. Your vibe shows up on the outside when it comes to your life. So this is a very it's a statement that doesn't taste very good. But people who get shot by police are vibrating something that matches the vibration of a predatory police officer. They're not out there killing me because my vibe is like, yes sir, officer, how can I help you? What did I do wrong? You know what I mean? I'm not out there like, you know what I mean? I don't even have that. I don't have that. First of all, I don't have that with police, and I don't have that with white people either. I don't feel like there's they're innately evil because they're a different skin color or whatever. They got a gun, they got a gun. They're not trying to use it on me, and that's my belief. So my life reflects. I've probably gotten pulled over, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, and I always get let go without a ticket. Like, it's just, but that's because of what I vibrate. That's why, to me, the answer is never anything in the human world. It's always spiritual, because anybody can make the choice to vibrate something different, and their life changes. It doesn't matter if it's because they listen to positive messages all day long, because that's all they've ever known. They're a trust fund kid and they started a business and they'll never have to work a day in their life. Regardless of what it is, it's a choice every day to wake up and say, I'm going to have a good day. I'm going to find a reason to be happier than I was yesterday today. I don't know where it's going to come from, but I believe it's there. And then, lo and behold, I find out that Sadie's got dreads. And I'm like...
You're saying that I can't have a hairstyle because of your culture? Why?
Because it's my culture. You know what bothers me.
But there are people...
Different hairstyle.
But black people
Well, it's
hate
not even
white
that.
girls with dreads.
It's not even that.
They hate
Oh,
white girls with
yeah.
dreads. I catch it all the
I can see why. I mean,
time.
like, even like if you
That's
look at the
our
pictures of
style.
the ancient Greeks, those are dreadlocks.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like
Celtic
that's-
and Germanic tribes had them too. I mean, it's all
absolutely
over
Germanic
the
tribes and
Well, it's because
Gaelic tribes and
soap is a fairly new invention, and believe it or not, before it was invented, people couldn't do anything with their hair except dread it.
Yeah, and they just
So,
made it neat.
yeah.
As neat as
White,
they could.
brown, black, it didn't matter your color. If you had hair on your head, you dreaded it because
Right.
it was cleaner and more hygienetically better for you to do
Right.
it. Is that a good word? Hygienetic.
It
I
worked.
think it was very creative.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like to use creative words.
I made
You
up
know
a
what?
word
You-
today.
Yes.
It's called storganizing.
Yeah.
Storganizing.
Storganizing.
We storganized today.
We did.
That's funny.
Yeah. It's fun.
It's fun to make me work.
But then, like back, we were talking about the Greek times and back then, and like even Samson and Delilah, like that, those were dreadlocks too, and a lot of power was held in the dreads, and that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
And there are still cultures where their hair represents the strength of their head. And so they may wrap it in whatever they wrap it in, but they have it because it represents their power.
absolutely.
And so when you get into things about schools telling some of the athletes to cut their hair, then it's like you get into cultural battles you didn't even know existed
Right.
because you've just got stupid rules. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a lot of stupid rules.
Yes.
And it's all at aesthetics usually.
Mhm.
Usually
Aesthetic rules? Oh,
aesthetic rules.
absolutely.
You've got to look a certain way.
You got to conform to the norm.
Yep. Look like
Well,
the rest.
But I will say there is also data to support when kids are in schools with uniforms versus when they're not.
Well, yeah.
And what happens because of
Those
the
schools-
creativity of kids that pick on other kids. Like it's
He said, give me your lunch money or I'll give you a wedgie.
just
There's a fun statistic, though, that nobody seems to give a shit about when they look at the school uniform schools. Those schools have money.
Right.
They have so much money. They have good education.
But
They have
there's-
new computers, for God's sakes, and new books.
Yeah.
They have books. They have pens and papers provided in the classroom. That's why they do better,
There's a-
man.
there's
It's
a lot
not the
of-
uniform. It's
and I'm
the
not saying that
money.
I'm simply saying the amount of torture that goes on because of
the
the
clothing
way that
you
they
wear.
dress.
You went through it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I went through that, and
Yeah.
I had nice,
Oh, yeah, me
I had
too.
nice clothes, but there's just stuff that teenage boys and I'm sure teenage girls do to each other. It's just,
Girls are worse.
it feels evil.
Girls
It
are
is evil.
mean.
Fucking
Kids are
worse.
mean in general.
Girls are really mean to each other. Unbelievably mean
In
to
reality, they're
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
through, they're learning from their peers how to
Be a bully
Be
in
social,
life,
yeah.
number one.
be popular.
Mhm.
They're learning how to matter, how to have value, and they're learning it backwards. It's like unteaching them everything in kindergarten. They come up into their teens and they learn all these crazy.
That's what that masculinity documentary I watched the other night, and I really didn't want to watch it because I thought it was just going to be another hate on man, beat up man, the just an extension of the View on Fox 5, you know.
Yeah.
But what it was just basically a study of society saying, look, hey, we have these kids, men in particular, and we teach them that through media to solve solve things with violence.
Yeah.
We teach them, by the time they're 12, they've watched so much porn that they're completely tainted, and their view of intimacy is...
You said they're completely tainted, no pun intended.
Yeah, right. Completely tainted, no pun intended. And then, you know, and then we show them that the archetype for a strong man is a quiet person who solves everything with violence.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then
a time bomb, basically.
Right. And then sports. That athlete is put on such a pedestal for just being a complete tough guy who doesn't give up and all this stuff.
Right.
There's no time. And then since the time they were born, they've been told boys don't cry, boys don't cry, boys don't show any emotion. Right. And then they hit society at 18, and they're asked to behave exactly the opposite.
A popular new documentary suggests that American boys are driven to violent behavior and depression by a harmful social code of masculinity. And it insists that boys are captive to a sort of guy culture that suppresses their humanity, excites their drive for dominance, and renders many of them dangerous. The problem with this perspective is that it fails to observe a critical distinction between healthy masculinity versus pathological masculinity.
So it's like,
and God forbid they have a relationship
with
a woman who's in touch with her feelings.
Yeah, exactly. So then they're just left in some, you know, that's like, because like all crime in the United States is on the decline. All of it. From violent crime to robbery, all that except for one. Male crimes against women.
Right.
And that's probably the reason why. Is because we don't teach at all level intimacy for men. And then we also took away... Like women said, fuck, don't be, I'm equal to you, so there's no more such thing as chivalry. There's no more respect. There's no more opening the door. There's no more just showing basic respect to a woman. Right. So then where does it lie? You know what I'm saying? So it's on equal parts that women did it to themselves, and society has done it to men, and men have done it to themselves.
Well, and it's interesting because in the ways that we talk about it, it sounds like, you know, like a blanket statement. Mm-hmm. When in reality, there are still women that can appreciate a man who opens the door for them.
Totally.
Pulls a chair
Just like there are men that are in touch with their feelings and their femininity. I mean,
right. But
they
then what they do say is like that most women aren't attracted to that, especially at a young age, because the archetype they've been shown is that tough guy, that asshole, that guy's a popular guy.
Their temporal lobe is not fully developed.
Well, and especially now, I feel like the whole persona of who you're supposed to have as a boyfriend for the girls who are from 15 to 19 versus who it was when I was 15 to 19 is totally different. It's all fuckboys.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what they call them. Like, that's the actual word that they coined for the men that they're looking for are fuckboys. And I'm like, how is that a good thing?
Right.
You know what I mean?
It means that the...
Why do girls like fuckboys?
Oh my god, fuckboys, they're so fit because they got a fit body. They have lots of money to buy you drinks, to buy you food, to buy you VIP.
It doesn't matter if they love you or not, you just go for the money.
Who cares if they love you? Because let's be real, who needs love? Like, I just need a party!
Boy will do anything to fuck the girl. So that means buy her stuff. Anything she says, he will do. And so what happens is a woman that knows that she can do that becomes of extreme value to like a pimp or a Mac, or you know what I mean?
And that's what it boils down to, the pimp and the Mac and you know.
So it's like Tindering for meals.
Yeah.
Tindering for meals?
Yeah, girls literally go on Tinder and set up dates so they can have dinner.
Right, yes. Yeah. And the reality is it works so well because so many men secretly have such low self-esteem.
Absolutely.
So boys don't have a chance of unless they've been taught by somebody older in their community how to have that sense of self. They don't have a chance because the girls their same age have outpaced them in their mind as far as how smart they are.
Yeah, exactly.
And then let's introduce weed. You know what I mean? Like it just it doesn't get. I mean it's.
And then they were talking about that, the weed and the alcohol binging. Like most, I forget what the statistic was, but it was in the high 80s. Like most kids are binge drinking by the time they're like 15.
Oh yeah.
Like
Xanax is a big thing. Like that wasn't a big thing when I was in high school. People are
so
popping
big
bars
it's in the music as a common choice.
Yeah,
absolutely.
or what do they call the
Percocet.
codeine?
Percocet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Molly Percocet.
Oh, lean, yeah.
Yeah.
Lean and
Lean.
shit that they make. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, like when I heard what that was, I was like, "Do people drink that?"
Right. Yes. Yes. Like somebody saying.
And people drink that?
Yeah.
It's cough syrup mixed with codeine. I'm like.
and a Jolly Rancher
And a
and,
Jolly
the
Rancher.
Sprite, yeah.
Oh, like, what, people drink that? Like, yeah. Anytime you see the ex-rapper, whoever it is, that's what he's got in his cup. Lil Wayne. And Lil Wayne's
3-6 Mafia. One of those.
Yeah. Well, Lil Wayne's half retarded now for drinking too much.
Half? I think you're being generous. But
I mean, not that he was ever a good rapper, but
you know what? The thing with Lil Wayne that you can't take from him is there was a defined period of years there where he was just the shit, and he was dropping so much more material than everybody else that he just.
I don't consider that to be good though. That's just me.
I mean, all I'm saying is that he aspired to, or he ascended to the level that a lot of rappers try to get.
No, I mean I get there out
Yeah.
there, but I'm like the way I sit in that fence is what happened to lyricists.
Oh yeah. No, let that go, Nate. Those are gone. You can go ahead and mourn them. The lyricists.
What happened?
The lyricists.
What happened to everybody having their own style? What happened?
Well, here's the reality, right? One of the great things about the internet and where everything is now is that you can create a life and a lifestyle being funded by the people that genuinely want what you have to offer in an artistic way.
Oh yeah, totally.
And it is only those who don't believe that they can do that suffer because they really don't believe anybody's going to buy their stuff.
Yeah, totally.
So we circle back around to what people believe about themselves and how it shows up in the success of their life. So you got these rappers that sign these deals, get their advances, think they got it all figured out, and they realize that those advances, they got to pay that back. And it's not going to be through the sales of their...
Well, my brother got his record deal. I forget what it was for. I think it was a little under $50,000.
Right.
Right. And they cut the record, and they had to spend the next 2 years touring for free, basically.
Right.
To pay it off.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that is the way...
That's the way it works.
That is the way that it works. That's the music business. And that's okay for those who know that that's what they're getting into, but most people, it's not sold to them like that way.
Right.
You know?
Sam, what are you doing?
Creating a lawsuit?
Are they going to be here soon? An hour.
Doesn't it start at 3?
Oh, it starts at 3. Creating a lawsuit?
So we want to get them right when they hit the door.
Well, you know,
That's why you do the door first.
we could probably win the lawsuit because we do have a sign on the front that says "Watch your step."
There you go.
Right?
She's always ready with the comeback.
Well, I mean, I'm preemptive on things.
You're pretty witty, though,
I think
Sam.
about shit like that.
Pretty witty.
What's up, man?
Yes, indeed.
You know? People like you here. I don't want to just go away with some asshole trying to sue us.
Don't worry about it. I know.
I'm tripped. Now I'm suing you and taking this beautiful
we know
thing
people.
away from the whole Vegas community.
Right. We know people take care of people who sue people.
You know people that
Call our
we'll
goons
just
on
take
them.
care of that. What lawsuit? Yeah, I heard some about it, but it could have gone away on its own.
We're like the Clinton Foundation.
Behind closed
That's like the
doors.
one group of people you do not want to fuck with. Look, as soon as we talk shit, there she is. Hey, this has been Trey, Nate, Sadie, and Sam talking a bunch of shit and trying to educate ourselves. To be continued.
Maybe.
I've also have a podcast with Alec Jones to put up, but we'll talk soon. Peace.
Bye.
it.